welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be reviewing some announcements made by Amazon at an event on September the 28th, where they announced new hardware, new equipment, new A-Ladies, new Echoes, new software updates, and the like. We're going to mostly focus in on the hardware, since of what most of you are familiar with, the Echo Dot line, the Echoes, the Echo Shows, those physical hardware devices, and maybe some new features that are available as well. In a future episode, we might tackle some of the additional software features and changes as well. But before we get into that in any sort of detail, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Well, hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be looking at an announcements made by Amazon on September the 28th related to, well, really a lot of different things, but we're going to zero in on the things that are most practical to this podcast, which is going to be the Amazon Echo line of devices. And in particular today, we're going to look at the hardware and some of the new hardware announcements. Now, if you want to find out more about this, I encourage you to look at The Verge or TechCrunch. One of my personal favorite news outlets is the Daily Tech News Show podcast, and in episode 4364 for September 28th, they tackled this and did a nice breakdown. Okay, so for our new listeners, we'd like to welcome you first. You're wondering what you get yourself into. I'd like to welcome you. My name is David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill. And for our returning listeners, we'd like to welcome you back as well. And you'll find we have little nuggetized episodes. We try to keep it 5 to 15 minutes long. And at the tail end of the episode, we'll mention some ways you can reach out to us with thoughts or suggestions. Okay, so without any ado, let's delve right into some of these things. Now, one of the big things that they announced, really in the principal thing from a hardware perspective, is the Echo Dot line of devices, a new 5th generation Echo Dot. Now, the older dots started off as hockey pucks, and then they got a little bigger and cloth. They changed the exterior a little bit. Back in 2020, with the 4th generation, it's hard to believe it was that long ago, they started to move to the softball kind of shape with a flat bottom that sits, so it looks like a little ball sitting on your desk. And that also changed the way the speaker was oriented, where it wasn't kind of shooting straight up or down. It was projecting out into the room, so it was on a kind of on a vertical. Now, with that addition, I didn't really like the sound of that one quite as much as the 3rd generation. I felt like the way it projected from the desk, it resonated more. It had kind of a better sound, I thought. But nonetheless, they're making some improvements with this model. Now, the form factor is still the same. That is, it's still the snowball shape like the 4th generation. But they've crammed some new gizzards in there and hardware. So what have they done? One of the things is they've upgraded the speaker to be slightly bigger and I believe probably of higher quality. And it mentions here clarity and up to twice the bass. And this also pairs with the fact that this Echo Dot also supports their high fidelity, I think, lossless music service. So if you were paying for that super high quality music service, this Echo Dot would be compatible with that service. So by all means, if you want to find out more about that, check into that with the Dot. Additionally, in addition to having that nice, bigger, richer speaker that still is projecting out into the room, there were some additional other things. One, they have a new processor in there, neural processor, that's really paired up with an accelerometer. So an accelerometer, you might recall, most smartphones helps figure out the phone's in motion, or you orient, you flip the phone sideways, the picture flips sideways, like a video or something. In particular, this is going to allow you to tap the top of the Echo to get interactions. Like maybe you want to pause music, you just tap the top of the device and it'll pause, or hang up a phone call, or stop an alarm or a timer. You can just tap it. So that's kind of interesting with this new accelerometer feature. I don't know how this is very reminiscent of the way the original Google Assistant worked, a little donut-shaped thing with a cloth exterior as well, except it didn't have an accelerometer. I think the cloth actually had some sort of components in it that detected your skin making contact with it, kind of like a touch screen. So that was kind of interesting, but this is kind of a different approach to the same thing. Now, additionally, in addition to the accelerometer, the newer processor, it also has a temperature sensor in there, so you can actually figure out room temp, and you can start to go hog wild thinking of the things you could do with that. Have routines that kick on, that adjust the thermostat, or kick on the fan, or whatever, all sorts of crazy things you could do with that as well. Additional features with this Echo, one of the other cool things that they have, which is kind of neat, is they a few years back bought a Wi-Fi router company called Eero. High quality Wi-Fi mesh network technology allows you to put extenders throughout your home and have good Wi-Fi coverage everywhere. One of the cool software updates they're doing, and is out of the box with this new 5th generation Echo Dot, is that it can double as a Wi-Fi extender for an Eero system. If you currently have an Eero system or are going to buy an Eero system, it can act as a Wi-Fi extender. In other words, it picks up the signal maybe if you're at the far edges of that, and then rebroadcast it. So other devices may be further away. I think it says here up to 1,000 square feet of additional coverage could be added as a result of using one of these Echoes as a Wi-Fi extender for Eero. And it could support up to 100 megabits per second of data connectivity through it. So which is kind of impressive for a little dot with pretty limited processors, that it can do that as well. Now, in addition to the Echo Dot traditional being updated, the Echo Dot with clock has also been updated. Similar feature set as outlined already. Of course, the big difference is it has the clock functionality, and they did expand the clock screen a little bit so that you can have additional information up there than just the clock and time. You can start to kind of think about what could be displayed there, like weather and different things like that. So by all means, if you want to find out more about that feature, you might want to take a look there, what that expanded higher resolution screen will really give you. Okay, so I think that is the big things about the Echo Dot and the Echo Dot with clock. Now, since they did update that line of devices, they correspondingly also released new kids editions with different, cartoon characters or whatever, people drawing on them and stuff, like designed for kids. So they still make the Echo Dot for kids in this new 5th generation model as well. And the prices on these are all pretty much in line with the typical retail prices for the Echo Dot, which is $50, right around that $49, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Basically $50. And of course, the Echo Dot with Claude is $60. And, with holidays and different things coming up, you could always see those possibly drop again. Okay, so in addition to that, the only other major thing, it wasn't a hardware release, but I will mention it real quick since it is connected directly with the Echoes, is the Echo Studio, which is designed for maybe like higher quality music, is receiving a new, well, I guess it is hardware. They're releasing a new color. Oh boy, you got a new color, and that's the white colored one. I think it's called Glacier White or something like that. But more importantly, it's having some software updates that are going to grant it higher quality, richer sound and quality of sound think the mid-range and stuff is improved. If you want to find out more about that, by all means, check out the announcements about that. One of the things, too, is spatial audio. So I'm going to have to see how that unfolds and manifests itself. But that's basically it for the Echo Dot line of devices. We will cover some maybe software updates that affect the A-Lady across a range of devices, especially on the Echo Show line of devices with screens. There's some new software announcements connected with that and features. But that basically covers some of the announcements from Amazon, and if you want to find out more, by all means, check out some of those additional resources that I mentioned. If you'd like to reach out to me with thoughts or suggestions about a future episode or topic, feel free to do so on Facebook or Twitter at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, or you can email us at info@goodwillvalleys.com. And we'd love to hear your feedback, thoughts, or suggestions, and we really appreciate that. All right, well, until next time, start practicing some of the many things that you learned. Go shopping this time of year. See what new gadgets are out there that we were just talking about and what that maybe could do for you. I wonder about this temperature sensor and the accelerometer. I wonder what kind of crazy things I could do with that. But until next time, turn that microphone back on. Start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. Let me tell you a bit more. Let me put on my official sounding voice. Ahem, ahem. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys and also made possible in part by a grant from the Virginia Board for the Blind and Vision Impaired. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving Central, Southwest, and Southside Virginia. Goodwill's mission is to empower individuals, strengthen families, and inspire communities. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Phew! Thanks for listening.